A major criticism of the MCU adaptation of Spider-Man, played by Tom Holland, is that he is too much dependent on Tony Stark and his Stark tech. Welcome to Wonder Why Z, and today we will find out, is MCU Spider-Man really too dependent on Iron Man? So, going through Reddit, Quora, and YouTube comments on a number of videos, I found out that many people believe that the MCU version of Spider-Man is a lot weaker and tends to depend a lot on Tony Stark. These people feel that this hurts the basic mythos of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, especially when it is contrasted with the lone wolf from Sam Raimi trilogy. Thus, the question is, are these allegations against the MCU Spider-Man true? To this, a very small and on the surface answer would be yes, Spider-Man is dependent on Stark. But a deeply examined, long-sighted answer would likely be no, because in a way, this relationship helps young Peter grow. Now, I will talk both the sides of this argument and finally give my opinion on this matter. But before we dive into this topic, there are a few things that I want to clarify. First and foremost, I am a huge fan of the MCU and I love most of its decisions as a whole. And personally speaking, I really like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. At the very same time, I grew up watching the more mature and less joke-cracking Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy played by Tobey Maguire. And Spider-Man 2 is still one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man movies and superhero movies in general. All in all, I just want to clarify the fact that I am not biased towards any particular side of the argument. I like all the different iterations of Spider-Man, including Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man as well, although I have more of a love-hate relationship towards that. Anyway, now let's begin. Well, the major criticism is that making Spider-Man more dependent on Stark downplays his strength and mythos. To this, I would like to say no, that is not the case, because of a number of different reasons. The very first reason is having such a big shared universe. This means that if something bad happens to New York or the world in general, it doesn't directly fall under the shoulders of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He has allies now. The Avengers will help him. He will help the Avengers. This is basically both the pros and cons of having a shared cinematic universe. Moreover, if you remember, these are the very same fans who raised the question, where were the Avengers when world-threatening events were happening in the solo movies, for example, Thor: The Dark World? Thus, now that we are entering Phase 4 of the MCU, we should probably expect some form of cameo appearance by different Avengers from time to time in the solo movies. Same has happened with Spider-Man and Stark. Moreover, we must remember that this Peter Parker is really very young, and right from Civil War, Tony has acted as a protecting father-like figure for Peter. In an Uncle Ben lacking MCU, Tony Stark acts like the guardian of the young Peter Parker, who helps him finally realize his responsibilities. However, a counter-argument can very well be made that the MCU has treated Peter like a kid most of the time, thereby possibly harming his, so to speak, comic image. I partially agree to this. Moreover, even though I personally don't have a problem with Tony developing Spidey's suit, I feel that things like the baby monitor protocol have gone way too overboard. Designing a suit is cool, no problem there, but monitoring his every movement and then equipping the suit with an instant kill is way too much. Just for the sake of a few laughs, I feel that they have reduced the seriousness and overall capability of Spider-Man. I mean, what good is the instant kill for? Does this mean Spider-Man is not capable of defeating his enemies on his own account? This was a thing which I don't like at all. People may argue that in Homecoming, the boat rescue scene showed Peter's brilliance as Spider-Man, but I beg to differ. Yes, The visual was amazing and I really liked watching it, but in no way was it any close to Spider-Man's full capability. Because at the end of the day, it was Iron Man who saved the day. No way can this scene be compared to the iconic train scene from Spider-Man 2. Moreover, I would have really loved to see Peter himself making those web slinger combinations, since he is a really intelligent person himself. But then again, the movie kind of fixed itself. Why? Because in the end, it showed Peter's strength as Spider-Man in his own suit, aided by his own friend Ned to defeat the Vulture. That's the Spidey people were looking for. Now, to be perfectly honest, barring a few things like the baby monitor protocol, I actually like the mentor-student relationship between Peter and Stark. Yes, there are a few moments where Peter, so to say, goes dependent on Stark, but for the most of the part, it is a really healthy relationship in which Peter stands out on his own, with a recent example to this being Infinity War. Another major point that has to be noted in this argument is MCU Peter's age. He's quite young at the moment, and as he grows older, he'll mature and become much more self-dependent as a character. And we all know that the MCU is very well at developing characters. So, be assured, our favorite Spidey will not be downplayed at all. Also, Tony's role will decrease slowly as the years pass by, although he will be still a major motivation for Peter in his journey as the Spider-Man. Okay, and now a potential spoiler for Avengers 4. Be prepared. I think that if Tony Stark dies in the movie, then the emotional turmoil and its outcome would be quite similar to that of Uncle Ben's death, as Tony has fulfilled that mentor-like role for Peter. If at all this happens, then it will serve as a great and huge motivation for Peter, and the subsequent Spider-Man movies shall follow this trope. Thus, I would like to conclude this argument by saying that the relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker is really beautiful. Infinity War gave one of the most emotional and heartbreaking scenes by using this chemistry. I feel that barring a few wrong decisions, MCU Spider-Man is quite adept on his own. He is not dependent on Stark, rather he finds a father figure in Stark that he previously didn't have. Also, age is a big factor to play here. He is about 15 or 16 in the movies, and as time rolls on, he'll get more independent and more badass. Anyway, this was simply my opinion in this context, and you are completely free to agree or disagree. Please mention your views and thoughts in the comments below. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more. I will see you soon in the next video. That's it for today. This is WonderYC.